Hello students, this is Abhijit Shah from Essences. So today we will discuss about one history topic, life under Delhi Sultanate. Okay, let's see. So spanning over 3 centuries from 1206 CE to 1526 CE, the Delhi Sultanate marked a watershed in the history of the Indian subcontinent. So the activity of the Delhi Sultanate was most populous in that time, and this vast and expansive range transformed India's political, economic, social and cultural history. And this vast and expansive range, that means in that time the Delhi Sultan, they spread out in all the places and transformed India's, they try to transform the India's political scenario, economic status and social and culture history. And the amalgamation of the Islamic, Turkish and Afghan traditions with the native Indian culture greatly influenced Indian society. And in that time, Islamic, Turkish and Afghan traditions with the native Indians means the main peoples of Indians, inborn of Indian people, and they also influenced by Indian society. And moreover, contact with the Arab world was kept alive by Muslim traders who brought their culture and religion to the subcontinent. So and some another activities of the another religion, they also come out in this subcontinental place, that means Indian subcontinent place, and it brought about an interesting wave of fusion between the two cultures. So in that time the two cultures are mixed in a place, and they known as Indo-Islamic culture, because in that time the Indian culture is mixed with the Islamic culture. Next is administration of Delhi Sultanate. So what was the scenario of administration? The administrative machinery of the Delhi Sultanate was inspired by the Abbasides, and it was theocratic in character, and the Delhi Sultanate was an Islamic state, and Delhi Sultanate was placed as a Islamic state, and the head of the state was regarded as the religious leader of the people, and they believed their head of the administrative work with their head of the state, and it was believed that he derived his authority from God. And there the belief was that the religious leader was the head of the state, and it is fixed by the God. They told about this thing. And Sultan means that head of the state and administration. So the head of the state or head of the administration are known as Sultan, and all power, executive, judiciary or military, concentrated in his hand. So all kinds of power was handed by Sultan, and assisted by nobles and the ulema. And language of administration was Persian. They used the Persian language as a official language. Next is ministers. There the subordinate, another leader was the minister and wazir. And minister there was different sectors. The wazir means that prime minister and head of the finance was known as wazir. Aris-i-Mamalik, the defense minister, was known as Aris-i-Mamalik, and Devir-i-Mamalik maintained records of the royal court or Diwani-Isha, and Chief Sardar or Chief Qazi, head of the Department of Justice. So this was the names of the officers. And provincial governments, that kingdom divided into several provinces called Iktas. They were told as Iktas and governed by the Iktadars, and Iktas divided into Sheikhs under Shikdars, and Sheikhs further divided into Parganas under Amils, and village head person called Mukaddam and headed the village. Okay, so there was some provincial government according to the region, and they was known as like this: Iktas, Sheikhs or Mukaddam, with these names. Next was social structure. What was the condition of social structure? That the society under the Delhi Sultanate was divided along caste and class lines, and the caste system was rigid and strictly followed. So there in that time there was the caste system, and it is totally followed very strictly as a strict way, and many Hindus, particularly those in the lower rungs of the society, were attracted to the tenet of Islam and converted to Islam. So in that time the popularity of the Islam was so high and their power was also more than the Hindus. And in that time what happened, some Hindus are also transformed their religion from Hindus to Islam by the force of Islamic religion, and many adopted Islam to save themselves from the jizya tax, and which was levied only on the non-Muslims, and there was one kind of tax for the non-Muslim, and if they transform their religion to Muslim, then they cannot to do the jizya tax. And child marriage sati parda system was widely practiced in that time, also was popular, the child marriage system sati daho and the parda system. And society under the Delhi Sultanate was divided into four major groups, and in that time there was four major groups in the society, that aristocracy, that means the higher class people, priest, town people, and peasantry. So first one is aristocratic class. The aristocracy comprised the ruling class, which included the sultan, the princess, and the governor of the provinces. They are under this aristocrat class, that means the higher class people, and they enjoyed a privileged position in the society, and they enjoyed all kinds of facilities because they was head of the all the society people, and they enjoyed all the privileges. And they also included Hindu rajas and princes, and they were the wealthiest and powerful class of the society. Okay, so all the power was hand of their, all the power was stay in their hand. And the priestly class comprised the ulema, and who were the chief advisor of the sultans. So there was the chief advisor of the sultans and the Maulvis. Okay, experts of Islamic law, the qazis, the Islamic judicial officers, and the Hindu Brahmins, and they held a respected position in the society, and their position also was very good and enjoyed a rich and prosperous lifestyle, and their lifestyle also was very prosperous in nature. And the next is peasants, that the peasants constituted the lowest rung of the social class in Delhi Sultanate, and their life was full of hardship, struggle, and poverty. And the peasants, they are not get the facilities, or they not get the prosperous life, and their life was full of hardship or struggle. They need to do the struggle for survive, and the tax collected from this class was the main source of revenue in the Sultanate, and the tax was collected from the peasants. Next is art and architecture. The fusion of native Indian and Islamic culture was visible in the Islamic music, dance, painting, and architecture of the society. So in that time the music, dance, painting, this was very popular, and many sultans were great patrons of art and architecture, and some sultans also very specialized in their music, dance, and painting. And music and dance, the range of the Delhi Sultanate brought with it the introduction of several musical instruments in India, such as tabla, rabab, and sarangi, and Amir Khusro is credited with the invention of the sitar. So sitar was invented by Amir Khusro, and by fusing together of Indian veena and Persian tanpura. Okay, and he is also regarded as the father of Qawwali. Okay, Qawwali, one type of music, and the father of Qawwali was Amir Khusro. He was most expert in this field, and a form of chorus singing from Persia, and which became very popular during the era of the Delhi Sultanate, and it was used by the Sufi sect to sing devotional song during religious meeting. And there in that time the Sufi song was also popular, and Alauddin Khalji patronized musicians and such as Gopal Nayak, Amir Khusro. Okay, and Balban promoted setting up of a society of court dancers and musicians, and Balban also promoted some musicians and the dancers, and Firoz Shah Tughlaq was a great patron of music. Okay, so the sultans are also they are also related with the musical activities or music or dance, and their choice also was very good, and in that time the popular dancer or the musicians was Alauddin Khalji, Amir Khosru, Gopal Naik, these peoples. And the musical text Rag Darpan was translated into Persian during his reign, and Kathak, a dance form that combines Hindu themes with Persian customs, also emerged during the period of the North India. Next is painting. The painting did not hold much interest in the court of the Delhi Sultanate until the reign of the Lodhis. So it is painting was popular in Lodhis kingdom, but before this one there was not the popularity of the painting. And Persian miniature painting influenced Rajput miniature painting and was patronized by the later kings, and this painting was used in illustrative manuscript and such as the Shahaman, Shahanama or the Book of Kings and the Nayamat Namat. Architecture. The Delhi Sultans introduced Arabic and Persian style of architecture and blended it with a beautiful Hindu architectural style to produce a distinctive Indo-Islamic style. So there was a architectural style which was formed with the help of Indian style or Islamic style, or that means the Hindu and Islamic style. The Sultanate period saw the creation of some beautiful architectural specimens, and many of these specimens were built in and around Delhi. Ever through the geographical boundaries of Delhi kept shifting with each succeeding dynasty, and the building in this period had some distinctive features. So the buildings, there was some features of there, and there was extensive use of arcs. They used various kind of arcs, domes and miniatures, and the construction of the dome eliminated the need of construction of pillar to support of roof, and they that construction of dome, they made their architecture as a dome shape, and they also used the pillar for supporting the roof. And since Islam prohibited the depiction of human figures, geometrical and floral designs were used to decorate building, and some Indian motif uh, like the lotus wheel were also used in Islamic building, and they made their architecture or the buildings like a lotus or the bell shape or the wheel. And verses from the Quran were engraved in ornamental style of writing popularly known as calligraphy, and they use one unique type of writing which was known as calligraphy, and they was very most expert on their in this field. And some important monuments of the Sultan period are Qut Islam Mosque and Qutub Minar, Alai Darwaja, tomb of Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, and the Kotla Fort and the Tughlaqabad Fort. Next is cultural changes. There were several cultural changes under the reign of the Sultanate which influenced the traditional lifestyle of Indians, and Hindu and Muslim alike started dressing in pajama kurtas. So there was the dresses like the pajama kurtas, kaftans, they used the kaftans, and salwar kameez. This was the clothes of them. And biryani, bread and wine became an essential part of the Indian cuisine. That means their main food was biryani, bread, wine, these things. And the Unani system of medicine, a Persian Arabic traditional medicine, was introduced in the Indians by the Sultanate. There was the system of Unani medicine, and this influence was two-way. The Indian pan, that means betel leaf, and use of spices gained enormous popularity amongst the Muslims, and they also started using the Indian turban. And but the most significant influence was witnessed in the religious ceremonies and especially marriage rituals, which reflect a definitive Indian influence. Okay, so there was a activity, that means they use various kind of traditional activities which was mixture of the Hindus and the Muslims. So this was the lives under Delhi Sultanate. So you can see there was the information regarding the leaders, that sultans, there was sultans, ministers, provincial governments, and there was some names unique names. And there was the social structure. That social structure, society is divided into four part: aristocracy, priest, town people, and peasantry. And aristocracy placed in the higher class, and they are most expert in the painting, architecture, music, dance.